I'm sure that by now in your Sea of Thieves journey, you've come across a ton of these. Yes, Tridents. Those things that you always seem to find no matter what you're doing. But would you believe me if I told you the Trident is one of the most overpowered weapons in Sea of Thieves and that you should never leave one behind? Let's talk about what makes Tridents just so great and why they can be key to a successful voyage. The Trident can be found on beaches, shipwrecks, in floating barrel spawns, in siren treasuries and shrines, and it can also be rewarded for beating the Megalodon, Kraken, skeleton ships, and forts. Talk about a massive spawn pool. No wonder we run into them basically anywhere we go. The Trident is not only an excellent weapon to take down pretty much any enemy in Sea of Thieves, as well as making quick work of golden skeletons, but it's also perfect for boss encounters. With a few Tridents on hand, you'll be blasting your way through waves of skeletons and defeating the boss at the end in record time. And one quick stop at a siren treasury should give you enough Tridents to take on one or two bosses. Contrary to what you might initially think, Tridents are actually great for taking down Megalodons. Depending on the size of your ship, it normally takes 10 to 18 cannonball shots to defeat a Megalodon. When using a Trident, it takes 32 tier 1 shots, which sounds like a lot, but hear me out. Because each Trident comes with 30 charges, as long as you're hitting most of your shots, you should really only need 2 Tridents for a Megalodon. With a Trident, you have the freedom to always be aiming at the Megalodon as it swims around your ship, rather than having to spin your ship to try and match its speed while shooting at it with cannons. Especially considering Megalodons will sometimes change directions, this is a great advantage for you to take down this fearsome foe. Furthermore, you can fire off Trident shots at rapid speeds, quickly whittling away the Megalodon's health until you've successfully slain it. The same can be said for the Kraken too. It turns out Tridents are pretty great for taking down the Kraken's tentacles, since you can aim right for them and not have to worry about turning your ship to get an angle with your cannons. The Trident is also a very useful PvP item. Although the Trident's damage per second is a little bit lower than most other precision weapons, and you can't easily move around with it in your hands, being able to fire it so rapidly makes it a little more forgiving if your aim isn't the greatest. Not to mention, it has a very deep ammo reservoir. Having 30 tier 1 shots that deal 30 damage each isn't something to be trifled with. In particular, the Trident is also great for deterring boarders because the tier 2 and tier 3 shots from a Trident both deal area of effect damage and have a knockback effect, somewhat similar to how a blunderbomb functions. A tier 2 shot at the top of a ship's ladder will knock a boarding player off if they're about halfway up the ladder, and a tier 3 shot will knock someone off even if they're at the very bottom of the ladder. To add the icing on top, not only are Tridents useful in all of these situations, but they can also now be sold to a variety of vendors. This means you have practically nothing to lose and everything to gain by picking up any Tridents you come across. Hopefully you can now see just how useful Tridents are, and how you should always snatch them up when given the chance. They're an extremely versatile weapon that's great for quickly clearing any sort of AI enemies, and they even have their use in PvP as well. Don't forget to subscribe, and I hope you enjoyed.